you guys, welcome back to Lily Reads. So as you can kind of tell from the setup, I usually don't sit here unless we are doing a wrap up. We're going to do a wrap up for the month of August. So I like to sum up my reading month of August, and I would say it definitely wasn't good. It was fine. Fine is the word. It was fine. I got one of my favorite books of the year out of here. I got a series that I plan on finishing, which I never read series, so we got that. But other than that, it was kind of a flop. We did have a book club pick. If you do not know, I always have to plug the book club. I am the proud owner of the Lily Reads book club. We're getting our flow. We're getting our groove. We read a book for the book club. Most of us did not like it, but for the month of September, our book club pick is Yinka, Where Is Ya Husband? And yes, I am excited to read that for September. And yeah, let's get on into the book. So let's just start with the book club pick. I had so many good things to say about Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl last month. I got the romance girlies upset when I said that we need books not just with tropes, we need some plots. Who knew saying that romance books were supposed to have plots was gonna just shut the house down? When you think that's an old, that's not even tea. That's not even a hot take. When you think of Jane Austen books have stood the test of time, even though they're romance books, because they have plots. They have plots. People continue to use those plots. Be serious. But anyway, Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley was the book for the book club for August. And yeah, we didn't like it. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. This book follows a girl named Jade and a man named Donovan. Donovan is a football player, and he owns a cupcake shop called Sugar Bliss. And one day he is in the cupcake shop, and this girl named Jade comes in, and she starts talking shit about his cupcakes. They get to talking, and then one day he goes into the owner of his football team's office, and the owner of the football team says, "Hey, can my granddaughter come and work for your cupcake shop? I need to teach her some responsibility." And lo and behold, the granddaughter of the owner of the football team he is employed by is Jada. So Jada starts to work at the cupcake shop that Donovan owns, but Jada has her own shit. Jada is a former reality TV star, and everyone hates her because she was on this show like The Bachelor. Everyone was rooting for her to win The Bachelor and all of that, but when it got to the end and she got picked, she decided she did not want to get married to the guy, and they broke up. There's more to the plot, you guys. There is more to the plot. And so one day when Jada and Donovan are working at the cupcake shop, someone comes in and is like, "Oh, you said the reason why you didn't want to get married to the guy on The Bachelor is because you have a boyfriend at home. Is Donovan your boyfriend at home?" And she's like, "Yes, he is." And they kiss, and that starts off this whole fake dating situation. The reason why it took me so long to summarize the plot is because this has too much plot, too much plot that amounts to nothing. This book has so many things going on. And none of it amounts to anything. You're waiting for this big climax. When it comes to fake dating, I hate fake dating. I hate fake dating. And at least if we're gonna get fake dating, I want a big crescendo. I want us to reach a big climax and let everything crumble, let lies be revealed. I didn't even get that. This book was just very, and then it's over. Nothing was exciting. Donovan was one of the worst heroes I've read this year. I give this book 2 out of 5 stars. This was a flop for the book club. Everything can't be a hit. Everything in the Lily Reads book club can't be a hit. I try my best. None of these books are vetted out. I don't read the books beforehand because that's no fun. I want to read it with you guys. And so this wasn't a hit, but you know what? We're still reading Black romance. We're still reading books by Black authors, and that's a win in my book. So didn't work for me, but of course I will pick up more books from Jamie Wesley. This just wasn't it. This just was not it. The next book that I read was Eileen by Otessa Moshfegh. If you do not know, I read My Year of Rest and Relaxation earlier this year and I did not like it. I believe I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. Not only did I not like it, I also didn't really respect it as well. Like I disliked everything about it, but that did not turn me away from Otessa. I believe there's an Otessa book that is for me. Otessa has written 4 books at this point. You have her first book she wrote, which was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. Then you have My Year of Rest and Relaxation, Death in Her Hands, and Dark Vanessa. So we have 4 Otessa books, and so far she's 0 for 2 with me. And you have Eileen. So I decided to read Eileen. You can go and watch my reading vlog. It's my latest reading vlog if you want to know my thoughts on this, deep thoughts. But this book follows a girl formerly known as Eileen. We are getting this older woman telling you about the story of when she was Eileen, but she had to run away from her life as Eileen for reasons. So the entire book, you're building up to why she had to run away and leave her old self behind and become a new person. And you're following Eileen as she lives with her drunk father, her alcoholic father. She works in a boys' penitentiary rehab center, something like that. And she's just going throughout life. Her mother is dead. And you're just learning about Eileen, the people she meets, and what leads her to running away. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. This book at its worst is boring. At its worst is boring. I was in it. At first I was in it, got to about the 100-page mark, and we were spinning our wheels and I stopped caring. I don't mind a boring book if I care. If I care about the characters, I care about being in the head of this person. I don't mind a nice little boring book, a nice little journey. What else the hell am I doing all day? I don't mind it, but this just got so boring. Then when you get to the reason why we're here, how Eileen's story, the climax of Eileen's story, boring. Just boring. And I realized, unfortunately, I don't like Otessa's writing. Not writing as in her prose. I think Otessa is a very strong writer when it comes to just the talent for the keyboard. For the keyboard, she is perfectly talented. When it comes to the choices she uses to portray, when it comes to the narrative choices that she uses, and when it comes to the way she describes her characters, I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. The way Otessa chooses to tell her stories make me uncomfortable in a way that I can't get over. I still own Death in Her Hands and Dark Vanessa, and I'm gonna get to them because I own them, but this wasn't a hit. It was 2 out of 5 stars. But I respect it. I enjoy this more than My Year of Rest and Relaxation. They one in the same. Whatever. Whatever. The next book that I read was Convenience Store Woman. Convenience Store Woman took the world by storm when it was published. When was this book published? I'm not about to find it. But this took the world by storm. Everyone loved Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. So I said, finally, I am going to read it. It's a quick little to do. Let's read it. So this book follows a woman. She has been working in the convenience store for damn near 20 years. This is the first book I read last month, so pardon me if I've lost some of the meat of this book, but she's been working in the convenience store for decades. And basically, she started working in the convenience store because when she was younger, everyone thought she was weird. Everyone thought she was weird. She was going to end up unmarried, have no friends because she was just weird. Everyone in society was normal and she was different. And so when she went to work in the convenience store, it made her normal. It was a pattern. It was a routine. It was something that helped her feel like she was a part of something. And over time she continued to work in this convenience store because it made her feel good, and she ended up working there for years. So you're just following her working at this convenience store. A man comes into her life and all types of things, I guess, happen. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. Not for any real reason did it lose stars, because it's a perfectly fine book. It's just, it was more so of you gotta earn the stars. It earned 1, it earned 2, it earned 3. It just didn't get the 4 or 5. It didn't hit me the way it hits other people. I found this book to be a little sad a little bit. Like, the ending was a little like, I get what the book is trying. I don't know if I believe in the thesis of what this book is trying to say. Like, I don't know. I wanted to be in love, and there were moments where I like really did love this book. But then there were other moments where I was just like, it just never really got there for me. Maybe if this was like a full-length novel and like was longer than like 160 pages, I could have really got into it. But it just never hit the beat that a 5 or 4-star book needs to hit for me. So I gave it 3 stars. I know that's unfortunate because a lot of people love this book, but that doesn't change the fact that I am going to read some more Sayaka Murata. I actually, The Life Ceremony, I actually recently just purchased that book. So like, I'm willing to read more. This one just didn't fully, it was fine. What is the theme of this video? Fine. I had a fine reading month. This was fine. The next book that I read was American Royal. I did give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I adored it. It was so much fun. This book was so much fun. So this book takes place, I'm sure you've heard of this book, but this book takes place in an alternate universe where instead of the United States becoming like this democracy and like they're becoming a president, this takes place of if there was kings and queens in the United States and George Washington became the king of America. So with this book, American Royal, we are following George Washington descendants as they are on the throne and basically coming up with things. So you have Beatrice. Beatrice is going to be the first queen of America because they passed this law that now women get to sit on the throne as queen. They don't need a king. You get to be queen and you rule over the land. And so Beatrice is first in line to be queen. She is the oldest of her siblings. So you are following Beatrice as she is trying to figure out how to be queen. But there are other POVs in this book. You have Daphne. You have Nina. You have, I forgot the rest of these people's name. What's her sister name? Anyway, it don't matter. She has Samantha. You have Samantha. And basically all of them are like having their own struggles with power and love and, you know, respectability. And everyone has their own plight and you're following them. It's juicy. It's good. It's drama. It's interesting. I loved everything about this book. This book was so much fun. When it comes to like chick lit, because that is one thing about me. People think because I'm nasty on adult romance books sometimes I don't love chick lit. Like, I am the chick lit queen. Like, I was reading chick lit when the girls was not. Like, when the girls was not, when they used to drag chick lit and say it wasn't respectable, I was there. I was in the trenches. The Confessions of a Shopaholic series, all of them, I've read them all. Like, be serious. Like, I am the chick lit queen. But that to be said, like, this is what I love in chick. This book was so much fun. It was just such a fun weekend reading this book. I had so much goddamn fun. It was such a good book. It was such a good book. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. So then the next book in that series is Majesty. And to me, these two books are 100% just a continuation of each other. They could be one whole book. Like, you don't skip no time. It's just back to back, back into the same mess. I gave Majesty 4 stars because just the intro was just the best, meeting the characters. Majesty was good. It was fine. And so I gave it 4 stars. Now, I recommend if you like read American Royal and you read Majesty and you're like, I'm good, like I've had fun, do I need to read the rest? No, you can literally stop here and have this be your ending. You do not necessarily need to go forward, but I did. And I read Rivals. I gave Rivals 3.5 out of 5 stars. Is that what I did? 3.5 or 4 stars. I gave it. Rivals has one storyline that is really bad. That is really, it's so boring. It's so boring. So it loses stars. But other than that, this was a perfectly good 3rd book. I will be reading the 4th book that is coming out. I haven't gotten to the novella yet for this because I kind of don't care. But I enjoyed this. I really, really did. So the next book that I read was The Lifeguards by Amanda Earward. So this book follows a group of friends, 3 women who are neighborhood friends. They all have sons, and basically they're close friends. They all have their own backstory, their own history, but they live in this affluent Austin neighborhood, and all 3 of their sons are lifeguards. But one day the sons come to their mothers and say, hey, there's a dead body in the pool or the lake that they work at, and we need to figure it out. So the mothers quickly come together and try to cover up whatever happened at this lifeguard, at this little place that they swim, so that their sons do not get accused of murder. This book was bad. I gave this book 1 out of 5 stars. This book was really bad. I don't even remember what was really bad about this book. Like, the characters were perfectly decent, but it was just like you reading it and you waiting for it to get good, and it just never quite gets there. It just never quite get there. The characters never quite get to be interesting. The different POVs never feel fully compelling. There's one POV that's very compelling, and by the way, everyone gets a POV chapter, and it just feels like something's missing, like a couple chapters are missing. And then when you get to the who done it, the what happened, the motive feels weak. Our main villain is weak. Like, it just feels very weak. It's just a very weak mystery. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a very weak mystery. Like, I guess in the end, when you find out who's done it, you could be gagged because it comes out of nowhere. But let's talk about coming out of nowhere. When reading a mystery, family, how do we feel about things coming out of nowhere? Shouldn't, if a mystery is made well and written well, it shouldn't come out of nowhere? You can be surprised, but come out of nowhere shouldn't be a thing, because you should have left breadcrumbs. There should have been some breadcrumbs, some ways for you to have guessed it. So coming out of nowhere is not necessarily a positive thing. Like, I think we can be surprised or we can be duped. I love being duped. But like, coming out of nowhere, that's just a poorly written mystery. I should have been able to pick up on some things, but I just didn't, because you disguised them well. And this one just came out of nowhere, so you could be gagged by it, but it was just like random. It was just random. It was just random. Anyways, let's move on to My Dark Vanessa. I read My Dark Vanessa this month. So My Dark Vanessa follows a teenage girl named Vanessa, but then also a 30-year-old Vanessa. So we have dual timelines going on. I've learned this year, like, I'm in the middle with dual timelines. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I think that it worked. I found both timelines perfectly compelling. I did not think the dual timelines was something to work against this book. I think it helped this book. So you're following Vanessa in 2 timelines, in 2017 and in 2004, 2002, something like that. And basically, she begins having a relationship with her professor at her boarding school. She gets groomed and she ends up having a sexual relationship with her professor. And over time, this professor gets accused of having sexual relationships with kids, and she doesn't know how to deal with that. In the later timeline, she's still friends with him, and he is once again accused of having a sexual relationship with a girl at one of his schools. And so it's just Vanessa dealing with the fact that she has had an intimate relationship with a grown man, therefore being sexually assaulted. This book was too long. In my video about this, I really feel like I didn't break this down well enough, because the clip was going on too long, and I don't like to make my reading vlogs more than an hour. This book is too long. That's why this book lost stars for me. I feel like at the halfway point, once the thing that happens in this book, if you read the book, once that thing happens, I feel like this book doesn't have anything else it wants to say. I just feel like we're just sitting there. We're sitting there. There's this random other storyline that gets thrown in there, and it's just like, okay, and like, it just keeps turning, and the beginning is so strong, and then the other half of the book is just like, I think you should end this book. Like, you're sitting there thinking you should end this book. And also, because there's a random storyline I feel shoehorned in here, the more interesting storyline that could have been in here is about her mother. I think Vanessa's mother is the most compelling part about this book, and the decision she chooses to make and not make. And yet, we don't get much from the mother. And so, I wish, y'all know, I love a toxic mother, and Vanessa has a toxic mother. And I wanted more of that. We don't get that. And therefore, this book just kind of, I'm just like, either end the book or give me more. And it decided to give me more, but not good more. So 3.5 out of 5 stars. But you should read it if you want to. Luster. Luster is one of the worst books I read last month. Luster is about a black woman living in New York City. She is failing at her job. She sleeps with everybody at her job. But one day she meets a white man, and this white man asks her, hey, do you want to be like a part of my marriage? Like, I have an open marriage. My wife doesn't care who I sleep with. Would you like to be like my girlfriend? Not really my girlfriend, like someone I sleep with. And so she's like, sure. Well, one day the white man wife invites her to come stay with them. So basically she starts living with the white man and his wife, and they have a black daughter that they are adopting, and she starts to like be a part of this white man's life and all types of stuff. And the daughter, that's basically the only way to describe it, like, because there's no plot of this book. There's no plot I can explain to you. It's just about this black girl going through life. She's broke, her parents are dead, and she's just like in this sexual relationship with this white man. This book, oh, it's frustrating. The writing is bad to me. But the writing was bad to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The sentences were really hard for me to, I couldn't grab onto them. I didn't like the plot. I didn't like the things. I just feel like somewhere in here is a really compelling story, and I didn't get it. I did not get it. This book does that thing where it tells you something really big, but then it focuses on something really small, which can work for me, but you have to give me more. You have to give me more to which I can be like, oh, our character is doing that because X, Y. And it's just decisions are made in the narrative that I just feel aren't earned. And so instead of writing a good book, you just get this. So I just didn't like it. I just did not like it. A lot of people don't like this book, but a lot of people do like this book. So it's just very divisive. And I fall on the side of not liking it. I gave this book 2 stars. The next book that I read was How to Be Eaten. This book follows 4 women from 4 fairy tales, and basically they are telling their stories in a contemporary setting. So let me reword that. Okay, so 4 women from fairy tales all get an email inviting them to a support group. And in this support group, they're all going to talk about their trauma and the things that they experience. So they all show up to the support group and they start telling each other about the stuff that they experience. So Red Riding Hood talks about being eaten by a wolf. The black, everyone had, Gretel talks about getting, what happened in Hansel and Gretel. Everyone talks about what happened in their story and, how it affected them. And basically, that's what it is. These women in a support group trying to get over the things that they experience. I really enjoyed this book. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. And the only reason why I didn't get 5 out of 5 stars is because it just didn't punch me in the end where, I was thinking about this book later on. But I enjoyed the hell out of this book. This book was so much goddamn fun. I enjoyed everyone's story. I was compelled the entire way. I thought all the characters were good. I thought the writing was brilliant. I love this book. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so I put this up on the Lily Reads Instagram, but if we had an award for worst book with the best cover, it would go to Hyde. This cover is a work of genius. Whoever designed this, raised. This cover is so good. Unfortunately, what's binded inside of it, oh, you can miss it. This book is this book is bad. I'm not gonna say this book is as bad as everyone is saying, because some people talk about this book like it is literally a disgrace to literature. The book's a mess. That's the perfect word to describe this book. This book is a mess. It's not well edited. It's not well written. The characters are not good. The plot is not good. It's just not well actualized. But is it the worst fucking when like I had a lot of books this month I did not like. So it's just like, is this like, this book just didn't offend me. This book is bad. I gave this book 2 stars and it got a star because of the cover, but it just didn't offend me the way it offended a lot of people. It's just a bad book. Like, it's just a bad book. But like I said, I read some other bad books this month. Like, I don't know. My hatred of this book is just not a visceral reaction the way some people's are. Like, it's bad, but it's just like, I read some bad books this year. Like, this is just one in a number of, in one of a lot, you know? So this book follows, so it's telling me 14 adults, like 14 adults who go into this abandoned amusement park in order to win $50,000. So it's a game of hide and seek. And if you win the game of hide and seek, you get $50,000. So every single day you go out into the park, something is chasing you, you try to stay alive, and then you go back at night to like the camping grounds and you start it all over again. Well, obviously things are not as they seem, and when people go missing in this park, they really go missing. The problem with this book is many things. Number one is the characters. The worst, if you're going to do a book like this, the characters have to be compelling. We have to root for something. The characters in this are really, really bad, and there's no effort to try to make the characters good. There's no effort to try to bring these characters to life, for you to try to make you care about these characters, to try to give these characters anything. So you're reading these characters and things happen to them and you just don't care. Number two, this is written as an adult book, but these people act like kids. They have the persona of kids. They have the dialogue as kids. They have they feel like kids, so it's just not. And then when it gets to what's going on, the kills in this book are just like, okay, like, is this book supposed to be a thriller or horror or mystery? It's just nothing. And then when you get to the whodunit, the motive is weak. This has one of the like worst whodunits of like anything. I hate whatever this is. I don't have the English to explain it, but whatever the like why this is happening, I hate that thing. However you would describe, if you read this book, the whodunit and the why this is happening, I hate when people use that in books. It's almost as bad as I hate when it comes to black thrillers. I hate it when there's a secret racist organization who is plotting to just take down black people. I hate when that's the whodunit of the book. I'm just like, this is stupid. Like, and whatever this is that's in this book, I hate that thing just as much. It just feels cheap and stupid. The next thing that we have is So Happy For You. So this book takes place in like a kind of an alternate reality of the USA, where like there's this dating app that everyone wants to be on that kind of forces women and men to like get married and have babies, because the United States, like, baby population is declining. So the United States is doing everything in their power to get people to have babies, and it's kind of almost for like everything around you is messaging to get married, to have babies. So this book follows a woman, and she basically gets asked to be the bridesmaids of her bridesmaid. I sound like Nene. The bridesmaid of her best friend, and basically through that they end up wanting to kill one another. So yeah, this book is what you are willing to give it. As much fun as you're willing to have with it, you will have with this book. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's a perfectly fine book. It's about 2 best friends who end up, you know, having beef down, I guess. Like, and you're just following their relationship. Some moments in this book, I was really in it. Some moments I was out of it. I was dreading picking it up, reading it at night. But it was fine. I had a good time. Anyway, 3 out of 5 stars. The best book that I read this month is Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. 5 out of 5 stars. This book follows a woman named Maggie who is dealing with an unnamed mental illness, and her husband is leaving her, and she is giving you the story of her life and her trying to deal with this mental illness that she has been going through, and all the things she feels like that has led her up to like the moment in her life that she is at. And you just go through her life and learn things about her relationship with her sister, her mama, her daddy, her husband, her other husband. It's so good. This is written so well. I just 10 across the board. Like, it's just so good. It's just so good. You know I'm in my anti-romance era because Maggie and Patrick are it's like my favorite couple of the year. My favorite couple of the year. They're so dysfunctional, but they're so real. This book feels so real. And oftentimes when I read books, depressed girl trying to make it through life, you know, but failing. It feels a little fake. It feels a little phony. It feels a little like, okay, like if this is giving theatrical, this is giving over the top. This book was the perfect mix. And what I loved about this book was the accountability it had. Oftentimes when you read books in the genre, depressed girl going through life, being rude and treating people nasty, the book wants you to believe it's critiquing its subject, but it almost feels like it's rooting its subject on. Like, you might be rude, you might be nasty, but guess what? You're depressed, so it does not matter. It's like it's rooting it on, even though it's trying, its intention is to critique. It feels like you're supposed to root for the main character. You're supposed to be like, you go girl, like, you know what, we all have issues, and yeah, you can take your issues out on the world. What this book does is it treads that line on, you can sympathize with Maggie, but also it's like, Maggie, you kind of a piece of shit, and like you treat people terribly, and you have to be accountable for that. Like, it did it so perfect. This book is perfect to me. This book is perfect. I understand the hype. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. Like, I'm gushing. Anyways, Sorrow and Bliss is definitely doing a lot of the heavy lifting of my reading month, but I read a lot of books this month. You know, I don't regret anything that I read. I had fun. American Royal and Sorrow and Bliss are the clear runaway winners, but I had some in the middle books I love, like How to Be Eaten, and then I like So Happy For You, and like Dear Vanessa was good as well. So anyways, I love you guys so much. If you want to see more of me, hit me up on Patreon, which is As Told by Kenya. You can go over to As Told by Kenya, and you can see some other videos. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.